This is in memory of Rita Theodosia passed away Lapointe, my mother. She was one of the most amazing people in my life. She had a really, really rough upbringing. She was raised in a really, really small community. Wilno is how I think it's pronounced. It's the first Polish settlement. Even the Polish Pope visited that small little town, which probably had a population of 20. But we used to go and visit there all the time. They had, where she was raised, they made railroad ties. So they had a sawmill, an outdoor sawmill, and an outhouse, and an old house that you think was in the Western days. But she had told me lots of horror stories that she lived through back then. One of them stories, how abusive was when she was a teenager and on her way home from school she started bleeding, got her period, and was really, really petrified and scared that something was wrong. And her mother told her that she was evil and that she was up to no good, and her mother did everything to make her feel really, really bad. But my mother overcame. That was the type of person she was, and just knew the difference between that was a really bad way to treat another person, so she was never going to be that way to other people. So she ended up escaping that small little town and moved to Kitchener and had a really great life. She was independent and worked at Schneider's, and was lots of stories about how great her life was and her lifestyle was, until she met my father, who was a very, very handsome guy and had a really, really great sense of humor, was really charming, charmed the pants off my mother. He came from a family. My grandfather was an alcoholic, gambler, owned a butcher shop, had 10 kids, and my father was financially supporting his kids, so he looked like a really, really great catch until he married her. And then the abuse started. My father having 10 siblings, all looking at my father as a hero. My mother never felt accepted. That's going to be hard for any of the Lapointe side of the family to take, but even the ones she's seen on a regular basis, she never felt close to. She never felt that, like they were her friends, but distant friends. She would never trust them with her life, because they were always looking at the good side of my father, while he was the one that was making her life a total misery hell, and nobody wanted to stop him. But my mother was always giving me little hints and secrets of how to survive and overcome and do your best, and right to the end, like that, I was able to see her, her telling me the story of how she stashed away over $30,000 trying to escape my father. But now that she's got Alzheimer's, it's like, I can't let him know I've got all that money, he'll kill me. So she was like, somebody's got to know where everything is and what's going on. So who did she tell her secrets to? The one that was the closest, me. So I know that my brother's got his hands on over $30,000 that he ain't telling anybody. He, sold her house under market value, and within months she's dead. Like, my mother would have been the type of person to always just see the bright side of all of this. Even in her death, I know that we've made promises to ourselves that no matter how bad things look, always know how much I love you and how much I'd be there and do anything I possibly can to help out.
because of the level of abuse and the traps that my mother has been in, it's easy to say that, your mother was an enabler. She was the one that allowed all of this to happen. My mother was the one that was able to explain how bad she felt, and she did everything she could trying to make my father be less abusive. She knew that her daughters would be safer away from him, so she sacrificed the ending of her days knowing that she would never be able to see the people that she loved, because it was a lot safer for the daughters emotionally to be away. So she would always just look at the positive side and see that she had her niece and nephew whenever they had a spare second. She was going to be grateful. She always used to say they have their lives, and she would always imply that they never really cared enough about her, but always made excuses that they have their own lives, and they have, always made positive excuses for why they didn't have a higher level of respect for her. They definitely, if she needed help, she knew how to get help from them. They shared Christmas presents. They shared a lot of good times. They had to have that traditional family perfect picture thing going on. But when it really came down to what it is she really needed, they never really heard her. But she always looked at the brighter side, that they had a different life to live, and but she was always really heartbroken that the family was torn apart. I think in anybody's right mind, somebody that is as loving as my mother was, she loved her children equally with passion, the good and the bad. And I know without a doubt I would have wanted to be there. I would have wanted to look after her like a lifelong promise I gave my mother. But I was not allowed to. And yet I was able to. My sister would have wanted to. So the people that my mother loved, 3 kids that she gave birth to, that I know she would have loved to be in the room before she left. 2 of them that wanted to be there. 1 of them did not want that to happen. So at the end of her days, I know that she knew I was there. I know that she would have been thinking of me. And I know she would have wanted me to say, just do your best. Pierre has a different life that he has to live. And my mother knew that I had a different life to live. My mother knew that I didn't like family secrets. My mother always tried to don't let the world know how bad things are, because if anybody started talking, the abuse started to escalate. So that was her reasoning why you got to keep family secrets, because she couldn't handle an escalation of the abuse if anybody found out anything. But my mother knew I was totally against that. My mother knew that I was not open to secrets. Psychologically, it's like if anybody tells me a secret, trust, I will tell somebody's secret. I am not one that knows how to keep a secret. Why? Because I'm so against keeping secrets. So my mother letting me know all of her secrets, and my mother knowing that my brother has a different life, and she accepted that. I'm going to accept my brother had a different life, but my life also has a different path, and that is to question, is what my brother did the right thing? Is what my niece and nephew did to my mother the right thing? Could my mother's life have been extended? I know that that is my mother's last wish, is to have her story told. It was never safe for her to tell her story when she was alive, but I know she wanted her story told, otherwise she wouldn't have told the person that's going to reveal her all of her secrets to. So in memory of the best person that I've ever known in my life, the person that has inspired me to be my best, to always see the brighter side of things, to always care and have compassion for other people, even your enemy. My mother taught me more about life through her hardships and through her great and amazing heart. I know my mother is always going to live strong in my heart at all times. She's somebody I will never, ever forget. I love you, Mom. Peace out.